So in the show, we did a wall painting that covered the whole space, and it's supposed to be a pattern that comes from a dress from the 60s, and it became a very kind of fashionable item. But I see it as kind of one of the first examples of fast fashion. No, I mean, because it was supposed to be a dress that that made women free from washing their clothes, from being like always washing their clothes. So it was supposed to be used once or twice and then thrown away, you know. And then this pattern, I decided to extend it through the whole space, but then the colors of the pattern change, and then create a rhythm where you see this change happening at some points more clearly and at some points less clearly. And then on top of the pattern, there's these sculptures that are made of papier-mâché and painted with oil colors. And these are all shapes that in different ways want to speak about change and metamorphosis, and how more specifically about the step of metamorphosis where one shape has to destroy itself to become another one. So in all the sculptures, you see different stages where at some point the parts are really kind of dissolved, and so there's no figure anymore. And at some points they're coming back together into a new form, or you see the stage where the shape is still the original one. So I think the process started, of course, with invitation to the show, and I had the chance to visit the space. So I think that was kind of the first trigger to everything, like seeing the space and meeting the people working there, and kind of in that time very briefly, but also meeting the working space of the artists. And I think that first feeling of the space, and of the space not only as the physical space, but as kind of as a community, was really a great surprise, no, and a trigger to develop the project, no, because I came with some ideas of what I wanted to do, and kind of like 3 or 4 subjects that were important for me to talk about, but then this kind of spread, and they mixed up, and I think that was in reality kind of the general topic of the exhibition, no, how fiction and reality mix up, no, like preparing to go to Sao Paulo, and let's say the months before, I had this. I started, of course, thinking very specifically of physically what I wanted to do. No, like making some drawings of metaphor. Of figures, kind of shifting their shapes and their identities. No, and that was for me very clear there. No, kind of decided. But then I started having some dreams and having some talks with people, and reading some stuff, encountering different things, no? Of course, the poem of Szymborska, and then, the way I go about it is like I say, okay, these things are happening at the same time. I have to trust it means something that they're happening at the same time. So I kind of, very kind of not discipline, not with a lot of discipline, but more like with very open kind of heart. I go through all these things together, and I say like, okay, what's happening with all these things together? No, what's happening with this dream, with this poem, with this thing I wrote, with these sketches I'm doing, and then kind of like let it happen together, no? Yeah, so I arrived in Sao Paulo, I believe like almost 2 months before the opening. So I was invited to be a resident of Pivô, and share a studio space with all the other residents. So in reality, the show happened. There's nothing that happened before I arrived. So that was really great, not to be there to see from like all the steps of the installation, and not even installation, like really the making of the show, no? And I think that difference is also an interesting contrast, no, between saying like installing a show and making a show, no? Mm, because installing has, I mean, actually after this experience in Pivô, for me, I feel this difference very, very, very strongly, no? That sometimes installing a show, it's very like, I mean, you do something, you bring it, and you know, that's that. And making a show in a place, it's something different, no? It means a magical thing when this happens, no? When all these things uh, kind of these little rivers connect to a larger river, no? And I mean becomes an exhibition, no? An exhibition that then you have the chance to open, and then it spreads again to be seen as anything you want, no? One thing that I've been thinking lately is also that it's kind of I mean, when you see this diagrams like a electrocardiogram, no, like this thing where they read like the heart, you know, and the health of the heart. I mean, they print a sheet, and so you see this kind of millimetrical paper where there's this, of course, this line like moving, no, and so you can read in that scale. But what I like about it is that in this case, in the case of the exhibition, maybe the wall painting happened to be this millimetrical paper, sort of kind of um, this diagram of the world, which is an abstraction, of course, no, because it's not. I mean, outside of this, I mean, this graphical, they invent these measurements, no. This, I mean, the millimeters, the squares, how 5 millimeters become, no. So it's kind of like a snapshot of what's happening, kind of in reality, an abstraction of what's happening in reality. So I like this. I mean, I like this way of talking of the exhibition, that it's trying to be like a snapshot or like a graphic kind of diagram of what's really happening outside, no, what's really happening in the world, no. So I mean, when I look back at the show, is that really I had an idea about the works. I mean, the individual pieces that I was going to do. I mean, I brought some ideas, some sketches, sort of, but really it was very, very clear that the works changed when I was working there. The place where I was working, my studio, let's say, was kind of like divided by a wall from the space of the installation. No, spending time in a place where you do an exhibition, it's I mean, also kind of breaks this path of things becoming so almost bureaucratic, no, where it's all about like shipping and, you know, and arranging and sending instructions and deciding. It's more about like really kind of fabricating something and getting inside a space and getting inside a place, a city, you know. And I mean, it not always happens, of course, no, and I mean that are different, no, but I mean, in this case of Sao Paulo, I think the experience in the city, in working inside of Pivô, and with the people that were there, the team working in Pivô, but also the artists and etc. I think was crucial, not to developing the project. And about Sao Paulo, I mean, like I think I just want to go back. I want this virus thing to finish so I can come back, because I was really, really happy there and really happy meeting the people there and working in Pivô. And I mean, I made friends that I'm still in contact with, no, and that not always happens. And I think that's a result of the whole context of, I don't know, of Pivô, or you know, it's a really good thing that is not experience that is kind of framed, closed, and, you know, sealed. It's more like something that is kind of open and developing. And I think, I mean, I want to feel that that's kind of it's going to happen, no, if I'm back in Brazil at some point.